This is actually the new book. This book should match the book that you're using. Um, there wasn't anything in the old book or in my old videos that matched up, so we're just re-recording, or I'm recording a new video that will match this book. So this is page 59 in the book. You will need patty paper for this video, so if you don't already have patty paper, go ahead and pause and get your patty paper. But in this investigation, we're going to rotate in the coordinate plane. So if we're going to rotate, remember the word rotate. So you're going to think about it, and it's going to rotate. So on your patty paper, make sure that you can see the entire 4 quadrants. Remember, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure that you can see all of the quadrants. You're going to mark the origin, and you're going to draw the x-axis and the y-axis. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just mark the whole thing because it's not always going to be just in one spot. Okay, now I'm going to mark each of the points and label them. So, and you've got to be really careful with this because if you're just a little off, your points are going to be a little messed up. So this is A, this is B, this is E. Don't know why they skipped C, but we're going to go with it. This is G, and this is K. Okay, notice all of those points are down here in this table, and you can notice I marked that out and I wrote rotate 180 degrees. It just makes it easier when you're looking back so that you know which what's happening in these points. So we have all of the points lined up. You can go ahead and draw the image if you want to. One good thing about this one is I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to mark the points on the back side. If you have a pencil, do the same thing because you can see that it just transferred right there. So if you have the points marked on the back side, it makes it easier in just a minute. So here we go. So I have the x and y axis lined up. We're going to rotate 180 degrees. So think about a circle. 360 is a circle. This is 90 degrees. This is 180 degrees. 270, and then 360. So just keep that in mind when we're rotating. 90 degrees is like this right here, and then that's another 90 degrees. All right, so here we go. So when we rotate this, you're going to stick your pen on the origin, and we're going to rotate 90 degrees. So that's 90. Notice the y-axis moved to the x-axis moved down here. And then we're going to rotate one more time. 90 plus 90 is 180. So then there's our new points. And we're going to mark those, and hopefully it transfers through. Let's lift it up and see. Yeah, it pretty much marked it through. If you have a pencil, sometimes it's easier if you just like stab a hole through the paper, and then you can mark through it that way. All right, so now I'm going to keep my paper kind of flipped this way and just slide it over here to the side because I want to be able to label my points. So this point right here was the original A, so remember it becomes A prime. This was B, and I'm just kind of moving it over. I was just slightly off. So this would be B prime. This point right there is E prime. This point is G prime. This point is K prime. And you can go ahead and make your little figure so that you can see it. So let's look at that again. Let's go back to the original. It rotated 90 degrees and 180. On the next set of rotations, we're going to do counter and clockwise, but I want to show you something. 180 degrees is half the circle. Doesn't matter which way you go. So that's 90, that's 180, so it ends up in the same spot. So that's why we don't actually justify a direction on this one, but we will on the other ones, because this one is just half the circle, so it moved halfway around a circle. All right, so what's the coordinates of the new A? So remember, count along the x-axis, so A prime, count along the x-axis is at -2, comma, -1. B prime is -3, -4. E prime, hopefully you can't hear my computer, it sounds like it's overheating all of a sudden, is -2, -6. G prime is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, comma, -5. K prime is -5, -1. Okay, so what we are going to do now is we're going to look at this. So if you notice, A prime was 2, 1, and it became -2, -1. B was 3, 4, and B prime is -3, -4. E is 2, 6. E prime is -2, -6. G is 5, 5. It became -5, -5. K is 5, 1. K prime is -5, -1. So if you think about, or if you look at that, hopefully you can, and I'm answering this question right here, hopefully you can see what happened. Every single time this 2 became -2, or the x value, so the first value became negative, the y values also became negative. Flip the page over, and we're going to do this first one. We're going to have enough time, I hope, to do this first part. So this is page 61, and I just marked that out, wrote 90 degrees counterclockwise, and then we're going to do 90 degrees clockwise. So if you think about a clock, we have 12, 3, 6, 9, and a clock moves in this direction. So if we're going to go counterclockwise, you're going to go the opposite. So a clock moves this way from 12 to 3 to 6. Now, counterclockwise would go 12 to 9 to 6 to 3. So it goes the opposite direction. So it's going to go this way. All right, either use that same piece of patty paper that you already had, or just get a new one, whichever is easier for you. You could just use a different corner. I'm going to use a new one because I can't find my other one. It's probably in my book somewhere. Okay, again, mark the x and the y axis. Mark all of your points. So we have A, B, C, D. So A, B, C, D. Okay. Now, we're going to go counterclockwise. So we're going to go, think about it, this y, the top of the y-axis, and you're going to go counterclockwise. You're not going to go towards 3, you're going to go towards 9. So we're going to take this, and just like we did in the last one, you're going to rotate it 90 degrees. That is 90 degrees. One turn is 90 degrees. So get everything lined up as best as you can. That's A, that's B, that's C, and that's D. Oops, they didn't really transfer over that time. Oh, because I didn't mark my points on the back. Let's try that again. So A, B, C, D. There we go. So this would be A prime. This would be B prime, C prime, and D prime. Okay, sorry, just moved my chair. So A prime. That point, move along the x-axis, is 0 up 3. B is 1, 2, 3, 4, so -4. It went back 4, and it's up 2. C prime is -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then down 1. D prime is 1, 2, so -2, comma, 0. All right, so this is counterclockwise. Let's look and try to figure out what happened to our values again. So we have 3, 0 became 0, 3. 2, 4 became -4, 2. -1, 6 became 6, -1. 0, 2 became -2, 0. What's the first thing you notice? Where did the 3 move? So the original x value is now in this second position. The original y value is now in the first position. 3, 0 is 0, 3. So the 3 didn't change signs. Let's just look at x first. 2 stayed 2, -1 stayed -1, 0, 0. So the sign didn't change from the original x. The positive stayed positive, the 2 stayed positive, the -1 stayed -1. So let's look at the y. 0 is 0. Well, 0 is not negative or positive, so let's look at the next one. 4 is -4, 6 is -6, and 2 is -2. So notice that y value changed signs. We just did 90 degrees counterclockwise and made this figure. Now we're going to do 90 degrees clockwise. So I'm going to use the same piece of patty paper that I had, and I'm going to put it back on my original. And then we're going to go clockwise. So 90 degrees clockwise is going to go this direction. So you're going to think about it as, nope, and I'm not going to use red this time. I'm going to use green so that we can differentiate. Okay, so now we're going to go this direction. So instead of making the x-axis line up on the y-axis this way, we're going to turn our paper the other direction. So put your point in the middle and turn it one time. Okay, so now the new A, the new B, the new C, and the new D. Oops, they didn't really transfer, so let's mark the points on the back of our putty paper again. And there's the new A, B, C, D. So A, this would be double prime. This is B double prime. This is C double prime. And this is D double prime. So, again, my computer's just being loud. It's recording videos, and so it just gets loud and overheats. But here we go. So now let's look at A double prime. So A double prime, you're going to go along the x-axis, 0. Notice it's just dropped straight down. And then it's -3. B double prime is 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, so it's positive, and then down 2, so -2. C double prime is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up 1. D double prime is 2, comma, 0. Okay, let's look at what's happening here. So we're not going to look at this middle one. We're going to kind of ignore that. We're going to look at the first and the last. So 3, 0 became 0, -3. Let's look at the order of the numbers first, and then we'll decide about the signs. So 3, 0 is 0, -3. So they look like they switched. Let's check the next one. 2, 4, 4, 2. The numbers switched. -1, 6, 6, 1. 0, 2, 2, 0. Now let's check the signs. The 3 was positive, now it's negative. The 2 was positive, now it's negative. The 1 was negative, now it's positive. 0 doesn't have a sign, so we can't really count that one. Okay, so the original x is now negative. Let's look at the y and see if it changed. 0, 0, again, that's a 0, so it's not negative or positive. 4, 4, that didn't change. 6, 6, that didn't change. 2, 2, that didn't change.